Welcome back to the greatest media teams production of Welcome to the Jungle 8, presented by Discmania. I'm Kyle Moriarty, joined again by Harry Chace to bring you the back nine here of the second round at Meadowbrook Orchards. Harry, how's it going?
Yeah, we're back at MBO for the back nine. I would call this the power section of the course. We're going to see a lot of distance driver rips. Shout out to all of our tourney sponsors, especially our platinum sponsors, Rad Disc Golf, East Coast Metal Roofing, and Amplified Insurance Partners. Thanks again to DGB, Disc Golf Bra, and Disc Golf 978 for helping out as well. And there are some signature holes out here. We are going to have a really good time watching this back nine.
Yeah, so we've seen through 9 holes. This is not your tournament score, just through 9 holes. Harry, you're sitting at 6 down, Dylan's at 5 down, and then Derek and Nick are sitting at 1 down, which I would say through these holes, you're looking for a little bit more. Check out those payouts, though. Come on. Look at what those sponsorships do. Thank you again to them. It's, a little 60 degrees. It's windy. It's a little cloudy out here. How you enjoying Meadowbrook so far?
It's an awesome place to play a tournament, and we are going to see a totally different side here, but we do have one more woods hole that we're going to check out. This is hole 10, par 3, 294, and man, distance control is the feature of this hole. Incredibly downhill. Camera really doesn't do it justice, and we have OB just 30 feet behind the basket there, so got to slow down in a hurry, got to keep the distance controlled, and hopefully get your birdie too.
What are you throwing off the tee? It's tough to see from the catch cam here, but...
So that's actually just one of my putting putters, which I never throw off the tee. That's a Rainmaker, and the reason I threw that instead of my Glow P2 is my Glow P2 just has too much glide, and whenever I throw this with that, I go OB, and we see Dylan may have had the same fate, but catches that tree and it sticks right there.
Surprising to see how many players hit those trees and park the basket. Derek gets nice and sneaky on that left side. He's probably just outside the circle.
Yep, he threw the berg there, which is really good for that downhill shot. And Nick again with that tree love. He would have been inbounds and close anyway, but yeah, it's just, you can see how downhill it is here. You really just need to throw nose down, so slow. And whenever I throw that Glow P2, I just go OB. So I knew that I had a little less glide on my putting putter and was able to stick it in bounds this time as we got Derek from about 40.
What a putt.
Super solid. Any miss of metal there, not only would he roll, but he might even be OB. We're going to see another look at this again. Same routine, same flat release. Just perfect.
That was a great putt. Thank you to the Greatest Media Team for giving us that putt replay. What a way to start off the coverage here on the back nine. I think this back nine is going to mean business here. That sets a tone right there. You're stepping up to this putt. You just watched him hit this 40-footer. Doesn't faze you. You're Harry Chace, but some other players might feel a little pressure.
Yeah, I'm the type of player that I really like a good card vibe. So, after he hits that, I'm kind of almost like more amped to hit it, and we actually again get a star frame to start off our round, and Dylan's ringing the basket there. But yeah, that's a really good hole to get a star frame on. Not the easiest too.
No, definitely not. Walk me through hole 11 here.
Hole 11, we got a par 4 with one of Massachusetts' most signature trees right in the fairway. It is almost reachable for these top pros. As we see, we leave the woods and get out into the open. But this is one of those holes that, as a power thrower, you really want to get that 3. And getting too aggressive kind of brings in bogey. So I'm going to down tempo this a little bit. And I'm going to leave it a little bit right. And I have to scramble for a birdie.
Yeah, this is definitely not a hole you want to put a lot of pressure on your second shot onto. You really can cover a lot of ground here, but like you're saying, going from a lot of controlled shots, and now you can kind of open up and throw a little harder. It's a lot easier to bite too much off of the drive. and make a big mistake.
We got Derek here with that little flex, and that's exactly how you draw it up. Right to the top of the hill, right in the middle. Should be routine from there.
Perfect. Nick's grabbing a Halo Destroyer, one of the new Calvin blends. He throws a little low. I'm sure he wanted a little more height, but that'll still work up right at the top of the hill.
It was in Dylan's bag.
Yep, and this hole is pretty forgiving for a par 4 if you have pro distance. We're going to see, even though he did that, pretty routine upshot from here, but we are going to now deal with the wind as it has not slowed down, and maybe that affected Nick's shot a little bit as he is going to leave it toward the edge of circle. But Derek, with that same putter, just pretty dialed right to the edge of the wood chips. Here's Dylan.
Very nice.
And he actually skips off the wood chips on a pretty aggressive hyzer angle. And that's where he ended up. It's straight into a headwind, really not the best from where he was, where he considered jump putting it. And yeah, that's frustrating.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think one of the best features of this hole is going from in the woods into the open, and where you're throwing your shot, you don't know what the wind is doing, and then you release it, and your disc gets out into this field, and your disc feels the wind, and you may not know what's happening. So I think that's a great... That's your first mistake of the round right there, Harry. From all the way to 11 to miss the putt. Oof.
Yeah, that was tough after watching those two guys miss, and the wind is really tricky from right here as Derek basically takes the same putt and makes it look easy. But yeah, just didn't want the disc to sail, and yeah, it was a little bit of a headwind and just a little smidge of nose down angle and just smacked it right in the cage.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one I'd like to have back, but we just putted for 8 straight holes without
in the
wind.
woods.
It's tough to make that adjustment coming back.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a great feature course design should keep using, going from in the woods to out of the woods and out of the woods into the woods, and out of the woods we have hole 12.
Yeah, absolutely. We are pretty much out of the woods for the remainder of the course. This one is a pretty stock shot on a normal day, but we do have a headwind with this elevated basket, so it's going to be a difficult 2, although it seems pretty easy in theory.
Yeah, there is out of bounds on this hole that hopefully we do not see any players find. I know a lot of the players will go with these big hyzer shots that initially go out of the out of bounds corner. Oh boy, there's some of that wind.
Yeah, pretty much right into the headwind we are here, and Derek is going to find OB.
Most likely.
Like we mentioned, we are playing this course blind, and that was the first time he's had the box, and he was definitely saying that he wishes he had kind of known the angle of it here. So I'm going with the same method I threw on hole 4, trying to attack that with a hyzer, but just that wind is pretty stiff, and I'm going to climb into the circle, but
yeah,
gonna be a tough putt.
Yeah, from the tee box, you have a left to right wind, which is just not going to let anything really push over. You can see Dylan asking for it. You know, you really need to take a line that's a little bit more direct at the basket. That way the disc's holding at it the whole time, because it's just not going to move to the left.
Yep, as we see Nick kind of playing it to the correct side, but is going to leave it short, which is pretty rare for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, this hole 330, nothing in the way. You would think it would be pretty routine for our top pros, but it plays hard, especially with how swirly it is out there, and you really can't feel that wind from the tee pad.
Yeah, and you haven't thrown a drive out in the open, or really throwing a drive in the wind since, really hole 3. Jeez. All right, let's see. Can Dylan connect here for the 2. Oh. Well, I'll say this now. Hole 12 played as a 3.22, so it played above par. A 333-foot hole, wide open, played above par.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. And
wow.
I mean, there really aren't too many courses in Massachusetts where players are getting used to putting in the wind, which I think is really one of the most difficult things to do. And if you have the arm speed, you can pierce something overstable through the wind, but when you're on the green with those touch shots, it is not easy. So it is a skill that I don't think a lot of our field really has, and we're going to see how that is, quite frankly, exposed going throughout the remainder of the course.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're up here in New England. We are typically woods players, and in the woods, the wind doesn't quite rip through like it does in the field. So you got to get out. You got to practice courses like Meadowbrook and Buff just to get a taste of the wind. All right, hole 13. What do we have here?
Yep, we got 272 straight at this signature hanging basket hole. This OB is a little tricky around the basket. We're going to see it fade off to the right there and keep the players out of these apple trees, but you really just want to get a hyzer right up to there, or maybe a forehand hyzer if you're Dylan. Going with that same disc, trying to play the wind, and kind of took off on me a little bit. Trying to play it a little slower, but let's see if we get a replay here of maybe a near ace run.
Ooh, that's exciting. Yeah, this is the exact opposite wind from the previous hole. Oh, wow. You almost hit the tree. So that wind is just going to keep pushing that disc for sure. Unless you go forehand, that's going to drop that disc down a lot faster. So Dylan should be sitting inside the circle, it looks like.
Yep, he played the wind really well there, trusting that it would kind of act like a wall, and Nick knew as soon as that left his hand that he put a little bit too much angle on it as well. You get a little flashback. Every backhand player knows that disc is going to move left, but you also don't want to throw it over those trees right at the OB. It's super scary.
Yeah, you got to trust to be like, okay, I got to throw it this much further out of bounds, thinking it's going to come back, but do you really want to trust the wind that much to move it that much? It's a difficult mental battle you got to face. Derek just coming up a little short on his putt. Nick, it was kind of like a half bid layup. We know you're not going to lay this one up. You're going for it. You want your 2.
And yeah, not the best effort there. Been having a problem getting those circle 2 putts to swing left at the end, and that crosswind isn't going to help. But Dylan here going with that preferred flick into that wall of wind, puts it close, gets the 2. Well done.
That's a great 2 for Dylan. After bouncing back from the previous hole, nobody taking the 2. Someone had to step up and get this hole.
You see Nick cleaning up a good putt there.
Yep.
And we are moving on to quite possibly the signature hole of Meadowbrook with just the most gorgeous view. Hole 14 is a par 3, 500 feet with OB all around the basket, left, right, and deep. And we have a headwind today, so it's going to be tough to control that disc and keep it straight all the way.
Yeah, this hole is difficult in calm days. It's a very scoreable hole on calm days, but when you get this wind ripping, the theme of Meadowbrook here is the wind will either make this place very scoreable or almost impossible. And the wind that you're facing right now with this headwind, I'm assuming this is probably Dylan's most overstable disc. He is just ripping it on a backhand hyzer.
Yep, and just a little bit too much height there on his disc, and he's gonna leak OB.
Yeah, at least he went OB to the left side, which I say would be the correct side to go OB in, because if he stayed OB right the whole way, he's going to throw from a lot further back. What are you throwing here?
This is one of my favorite S-line PDs, and for some reason, I actually just like playing this hole in a headwind a little bit better. It just is able. I just know that I can't outthrow the hole for one, and I know it's just going to keep my disc straight if I get the angle on it. So, super happy to put that one as close as I did.
And this is a Banshee from Nick. I don't know the last time I've seen a player throw a Banshee besides Nick, but he loves this disc.
Yeah, super good toss there. Gives it to a putt, which, I mean, a putt for two on this hole is super good. Most of the field is not going to do that.
No. Oh.
He knew as soon as it left his hand. He was talking to us earlier that he just wanted to play a lot of these holes safe since he never played here before, but it's hard to follow Nick's big arm and
hey,
and
there's Dave.
Not want to just crush it down the fairway. And Dave, Meadowbrook Dave, making an appearance. Shout out to him and all he does for disc golf.
So Derek probably had about a 200-foot shot here to the basket.
Yeah, maybe more, but executes it well. And we see Dylan actually going to have a putt here and right on line, but just didn't give it the height.
That is a healthy bid from how far he is, because he can miss that and he can roll OB, and because there's danger back there, or keep going. And in the wind that we're facing here, you really don't want a putt that's going to be outside of that chip range, because it gets pretty difficult.
Yep, and Nick just hitting that top nub there on a really good bid from 40. But a tap in three is certainly strokes on the field. Derek again, just flat right through the chains.
Yeah, he's got a
Really
great
good
putt.
save.
His putt is very good for the wind because he putts committed. Here's you. This is for a 2. That is quite awesome. Just outside the chips. Nice. So you were one of 2 birdies on this hole. You and Josh DiBattista are the only 2 players to get the 2 here. This hole averaged a 3.48, so you just gained almost 1.5 strokes on the entire field right there.
Oh, that's awesome. Shout out Debo. Great 2 there for him as well. And this is certainly going to be a hole that we see more than 2 birdies on.
Oh,
we
yes.
got a par 4, 541, and we have some really good wind for this hole, pushing us on a tailwind and a little bit right to left. And I know for me, for Nick, and for Dylan, we are thinking about getting a 2 here.
Ooh, I would love to see that. This is a hole, I mean, that's the thing about Meadowbrook, is you get that wind correct, whereas now you have this tailwind, you get something up into the air, turning, you're throwing that DD3, it's out there, folks.
Yeah, it is out there, almost OB. I mean, I can't say I've really played this hole with that much wind, and Nick, unfortunately, is going to take my same line, and it's just hard. I mean, we're ripping pretty overstable discs, and as soon as that little angle is exposed to the wind, it just carries it left, and we were unable to trust our discs over these orchard trees. Let's see if Dylan can do that.
What is he throwing? Is that a Halo Destroyer or a Halo Boss?
It's one of the 2. I'm honestly not super sure, but it is ripped, and he's going to have about a 50-footer for eagle, giving us the putt that we wanted. But yeah, it's just another one of those holes where, as a pro, you really have to get the 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a hole that you're licking your chops. Carr says it's a 4, so this is an easy score birdie. You know, you're not really going to gain anything on the field because everybody's expecting to take the 3, but you have to 3 this one. Oof. Derek almost throws that in.
So we are actually almost pin high over here with just how much that wind was pushing, but way off to the left. I put it in the chips, which I'm happy with, but
Yep.
Obviously wanted to land close to where Dylan did. We got Nick taking out that waffled up harp.
Soft harp. Checks
Does
up
the same.
nicely. This is Dylan. This is where his drive landed. That is awesome.
Yep, we know Dylan's such a good putter from range. And right in the center. And we had a little bit of a crowd following us. And he was really hyped to do that and giving us high fives on the way. Shout out to this putt right here. We're going to take a second look.
That's an eagle. That's awesome.
That's an eagle. And let's look at Dylan's form and his follow through. Steps through and he's fist pumping that even before it's in. Awesome to see an eagle on GMT. And there's those strokes on the field you were talking about earlier, Kyle.
Yep. That's how it's done right there. Congratulations, Dylan. You gained 1.5 strokes on everybody right there. This whole average to 3.54. So that is a huge advantage.
And we got Derek with a rare miss in the circle, but was putting right into that headwind. Nick able to put it on the stripe and collect a birdie that I know he would have been really upset to miss.
Yeah. Yeah, a player for Nick who can almost reach the basket on his drive. You look at that and you go, all right, maybe I'm doing this one today. But 3 is worst case scenario. Derek cleaning up his par. He's okay. He's moving on. We're going to move on to hole 16, the hardest hole on the course.
Yeah, 16 is brutal, and there's a few different ways the player can attack it. Super signature shot with these apple trees lining the middle of the fairway and these beautiful chips laid out. But yeah, you can throw a hyzer, you can throw a flex shot. We're going to see a lot of different ways this hole is attacked, but you really just want to keep it in bounds as this OB is tight. We got Dylan here going with a 9-speed on a hyzer. Check this out.
Oh, are you kidding me? He almost aces it?
Pure hyzer release.
Oh.
I mean, that wind is going to help him, but still. Unbelievable shot here from Dylan as we get a little slow-mo action. Bounces off the chips into circle 1.
He so close to ringing that up. That is impressive, especially with this wind that's going on here. That is just raw power. What are you throwing here?
This is the new Discmania FD1, and I'm trying to just throw a little bit of a trick shot that's going to flex and stall right in the middle.
Yep.
And, unfortunately, that wind is actually going to make it fade almost backwards, and I'm not really going to have that close of a putt. As we see the hyzer play from Nick.
Oof.
And yeah, most days that hyzer is really scary, but if you have Nick's power, you are really able to trust that the wind is going to catch it almost coming in and not send you too far.
Yeah, with the wind that was blowing today, it's that left to right, so you're trusting that almost at the basket and letting the wind smack it down. As you see here, it almost has the ability to fight and bite in, but it just got a little too left. Goes from OB, lays it up.
Yeah, and that's just how quick you can take a bogey on this hole, and why it does play as the hardest. As I'm trying to bring this one up in the wind and just wasn't able to give it enough height.
Now this hole came in at a 4.7 for the average.
No way.
So it averaged over a stroke above par.
That is wild. I certainly can't understand that in the wind, but wow.
Yeah, 4.7. It's a par 3.
There's Dylan for his 2. Yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, he's putting right into that headwind downhill. If that lifts, he's probably putting it OB. I have a putt from about 18 feet, a little bit obstructed from the straddle, and
Oh, well, right there is how it averages a 4.07. Some missed putts, the windy basket, some, just madness. So I'll shout out the one birdie on this hole, Nate Delisle from Maine, Team Thought Space, I think he's 15-year-old kid.
sounds right.
The one birdie on the day. Hole 17. Walk me through it, Harry.
Yeah, this is a super fun tee shot. 677-foot par 4. Honestly, a little bit more fun with a tailwind, but we are going to have a headwind for our pros today. And really, just looking to get one out there. There's not a lot of OB to speak of, though it does come into play on the left. But this drive is really just about showing GMT what these pros can do, and then hopefully getting a good upshot from there.
You can see Dylan was feeling this one. He was jamming on the tee box. You know what was in the earpiece, what he was feeling?
I can't say. I've never asked him. I know he likes a lot of country, but for some reason it seems like he's probably playing a little bit more hype up today.
Yeah, he was feeling that one. Nick is throwing this one a little too high.
Do some work.
Camera couldn't find it.
That same Calvin
There it is.
Destroyer as it crashes down to the earth.
There you go.
And, we'll see another look at this and how high it was. And I mean, normally Nick can reach this one and give it a little putt at it, and that wind is just gonna keep him from doing that today, which would have been really cool to see him drive the green, but still a great shot for the conditions.
Great camera work from Rivas there, who was on the catch cam, being able to follow that. Those shots are not easy to follow. This is your S-Line DD3 again, right?
Yep, S-Line DD3, and I really just don't want to be over on the right side. I know that OB is on the left, but not going to quite get there, and I'm happy with that shot.
Yep, yeah, it's in play. It's going to be an up and down. Give you a shot to get up to the basket. Derek puts a great move on this shot right here. Gets it over all of the OB apple trees, right in the middle of the fairway.
Yep, and like you mentioned about how wind can really change this course. On a normal day, you can almost pencil in that our car is going to get up and down for birdies, no problem. And in this wind, it just becomes a little bit tougher. See Derek go to his zone here, trusting it out and finding the chips. Great shot.
Yeah, you can see the wind just pushing against that disc, just not really wanting to let it move forward. Dylan says, I don't care about you, wind. I'm just going to put this zone right underneath it. Nick with a soft harp, soft upshot, right to the edge of the chips. That's going to be at right around 17 feet. I'm assuming this is a tactic out of you?
Yep, soft tactic and right to that same spot. I think all three of us were almost touching here, with Dylan being a little bit closer, but even still, this putt is not routine with that wind, and
you drain it.
Able to stick it there, the first birdie for her card.
Well, that's a good start for the putts from out there. That's getting the group moving in the right direction. Yeah, another great connection.
But we know Derek's putt is absolutely built for this type of putt. We'll look to see him clean this up and have another star frame for our lead group.
Yeah, excellent putt. Great three putts right there. Even though it looks easy, the wind is ripping. And Dylan just drops her in.
And again, ringing the chains. Shout out to our European friends.
Yes, sir. And that's going to take us to hole 18, the last hole for our coverage here for the round 2. Walk me through 18. What are you looking at? What are you feeling?
Yep, we finish on a par 4 here, downhill. The green is sometimes drivable depending on the windy conditions, and I don't think we're going to have the wind for that today. So our players are going to look to get a hyzer out to the left, maybe a little bit different for Dylan, and then we're going to see this green be Sneaky guarded by OB. We'll see what happens on the last hole.
Yeah. How do you feel about the basket being an attractor? I know it's slightly controversial.
I love it. It's disc golf, so that's nothing new. I think cool basket placements are part of our sport, and I don't think it impedes the putter in any way. So I think it's a great touch.
Yeah. Now, Dylan shot there. I know he had a lot of angle on it. Did it end up rolling, or did it just get turned in the wind?
Yeah, his just hit and sat. He's going to be much farther away than he likes, and I think we mentioned that a little bit earlier. I know he has the hyzer distance, as he just did eagle 15 with the hyzer, but going for the flick there, and going to be quite far out for it. So that's all I'm trying to do right there, is just throw that hyzer.
Yeah, nice simple shot.
Good with that, yeah.
So Derek sees all these shots, and you finally show him the rope on how to get out there, how to play the hole, how to throw the tee shot. He sees it and he matches. He throws a great shot here.
Yep, going back to that subtle flex and doing it well. And this is honestly one of those holes where if it is a tailwind, I do get a lot more aggressive, but because of the headwind nature of it, it just makes it a lot easier for me to lay up. And Dylan doing a little dance to the sky.
Yeah.
Leaving that one a bit wide. And
I know Dylan went to the putt. I'm not quite sure he's going to be truly putting from where he is. Nick went to the bottom of the hill, which is quite the feat on the drive.
Yep, and we also see him short. So far, all of our competitors are outside the circle of short. And I took that as the wind doing its job, and gosh, just overcompensated a little bit.
Yeah, just OB deep. Yeah, I think the biggest difference is you had your shot a little elevated, where a lot of the other players, theirs were a little bit lower, and the wind just knocked them straight down, whereas you gave yours a little bit more time to get pushed down.
Yep, and
that's a bold run.
For sure, but Derek's
looking at the
confident in his
OB.
putt. And, yeah, tough putts here on this basket.
Yeah, I mean, you can easily go back and forth here.
Finishing out on this hole definitely takes a committed putt, and when we've been on the course as long as we have, had so many windy putts, it's starting to get noticeably colder as the day ends. So
Yes.
Derek's committed putt able to finish the round. We have Dylan now for his par.
Let's go, Dill. Oh, it just slid out. Oh, hey, nice backside, Dylan.
Yeah, he's been known to do that from time to time. As
Yeah,
he knows, he just gave GMT a little bit of a treat there, and after
That's
going
gonna-
OB,
We'll have
my
to.
par, and yikes.
We'll put Dylan up on the OnlyFans for GMT, and he'll clean up your par putts. We'll have some of your putts on the OnlyFans for people as well to watch, because those are a thing of beauty. You're finishing off your round there quite well.
Yeah, definitely not the whole 18 that we hope to get from our feature card, as we have me, Dylan, and Nick carding bogeys. Derek able to get out with the par to save us a little bit, and that's going to be it for Meadowbrook Orchards. Beautiful course, and we're going to be back at Coggshall for Sunday. What do we see out there today, Wads?
Yeah, so we have you finishing up at 18 down. You have a four-stroke lead over Dylan at 14 down. And then you're going to be joined by Nate Delisle with a great round today. He shot 9 down. He's at 13 down right now. And then rounding out, you're going to have Edwin Bedell for our final card at Cogs. I'm excited for it. I've had a blast talking with you, Harry, doing the commentary here. Like, subscribe, GMT. Thank you so much.
Yep, do all those YouTube things, promote our content, and it's going to be a really exciting finish on Championship Sunday. looking forward to see who takes that trophy home.